DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Ta-da! Well, that's my magic trick for tonight. Thanks, everyone, for watching. That was a quick show. That might have been one of our best shows ever, MJ.
I think for me it was, at least.
I mean, we didn't have any arguing, fighting, crying. That's usually me in the first few minutes, too.
No auto mix, no mega set.
No. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are running a few minutes behind tonight. Some technical issues this evening, so that means that things have just kind of piled up, and now we're finally working our way through the shows this evening. So we got a few people. Darren, I see Keith is in the chat room. There's a few of you in there. Thank you for joining us. If you guys have got questions and such, we're going to be following the YouTube more than the Facebook chat because the Facebook just doesn't load for some reason. I can see Brent and Hunter are in the Facebook one, but that's about the extent. That's all I could see. If they could be singing songs for all I know, and I can't even see it.
That's okay. Singing's good.
It is. Sometimes it's really good, especially if I'm not doing it. So
try to brighten me up here a little bit.
Yeah. Turn that light on.
There we go.
Oh wait, we can. For those of you who do podcasts and such, one of the cool things is that there are little apps that will control your webcam, so we can adjust. Hence, MJ can brighten himself, and I feel that I'm just too bright all the time, so I can just bring myself.
I actually have a thing in this, like you do the Snapchat that has the overlays of like the bunny ears and stuff. You ever seen? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I actually have one that works with this camera, so I could be doing live with the bunny head or whatever.
Oh Jesus, you're moving.
We might have to do a show like that one night where it's all try to take. Maybe on April Fools we'll do try to take me serious show.
That'll be so bad. So, MJ, what do you have for us tonight?
All right. So first, before we start, I have show and tell.
Oh, nice.
Okay. It's Valentine's Day today. Okay. And since this is a show about music and DJing, I have a DJ Valentine-oriented show and tell. And I'm kind of excited about this because it took me a while to get this. So I'm kind of proud of it. So not too many people get to see it. I think I'm going to take a picture and post it later. But I found a few years ago out hunting a heart-shaped record that is a promo copy of Yarborough and People's Heartbeat. This is an actual record that actually plays, but it's shaped like a heart.
Sure, just some additional vinyl. It's not like there's any grooves on the.
What's that? It's a playable.
Right. But that's just so the heart shape of it is just.
This is the record here. Yeah, it's a song and it plays and it's both sides, but the whole thing is cut in a heart shape.
Heart shape, yeah.
I thought that was kind of neat.
Like
I said, since it's Valentine's, I thought I wanted to share it because I think it's cool.
It's beautiful.
And there it is in all its glory. Was it 1980 something or other? I forget. So that's my show and tell for tonight.
So how did you come across something like that?
I knew they were out there. There are bunches of them. I was trying to find something unique because that's one of the things when I buy, I don't buy records for the song that's on them. I buy them for what they are, whether it's a picture record or a shape record, which I have some really cool ones. I have The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me, and it is in the shape of a police badge. So it's cut in. So I grabbed things like that, and I knew there was a heart-shaped ones out there, quite a few. So I hunted and tried to find something kind of unique, and found this one being a promotional copy. So it wasn't like it was sold; it was for promotional only. And got a hold of it. I think it was about $15. Added to my little collection. If you ever come to my house, I have a coffee table book of unique records like this. So it's a thing like these people would use scrapbooks, but instead of being scrapbooks, it's all these little records in there that you can look at. My mini records, because I have 7-inch and 5-inch 33 RPM records in there and stuff like that. So a lot of little cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I just want to share. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
There we go.
All right. So what we're doing tonight, it's going to be somewhat complicated, but somewhat simple. So I'm going to take it from the simplest point to the most complicated point. I don't know how much of this you'll ever put to use, but I like it. I use loops a lot. And when I said I was going to do a show about loops, John thought I was talking about hula hoops, and he wanted to see me do hula hoops while I'm DJing. And I said, no, that's not going to happen.
Loops, L-H-I.
Loops, not hoops. So there is a difference. And if you're able to DJ with hoops, send me a video. I think I'll share that. I will surely share that. If you're doing that, I mean, because that might hit the fader when you're coming across there, you know.
It may be.
That could be a way to do a transition, the hula hoop transition.
The hula hoop transition. This could be something.
You know, that's going to show up in next year's DMC competition. Some dude's going to do that.
I got this really good idea I was watching online on YouTube, man, and this guy talked about it.
This nut old DJ, this goofy old DJ. Tonight we're going to talk about loops. And a while back, I teach it in my classes about loops, but sometimes I forget that some people don't know the simplest parts of a loop and how to set them. And Dan and I were talking about it one night, and he didn't know that there's like an auto loop button on most controllers. And it's also in the program. Tonight, as most of the time, we're going to be looking at virtual. That's just what I use, but the show is not necessarily about virtual. It can be, I mean, you can do it with Serato, you can do it with Tractor, you can do it with anything. Looping is kind of a universal function. And there's two ways to do it. And I'm going to switch cameras here real quick and show you the buttons first, and then we'll go to the software. Throw your questions at John if you have them. I'm going to try to get through this and then be able to answer the questions at the end. And I have some pretty cool stuff too. So, all right. So on most decks like this one, this is the loop area over here. It's kind of tough to see because it's very far away, but there is an in and an out. So you would set the loop where you want the loop to start, and you can set it where you want it to end, or hit the auto loop where it's at, and it will set a loop at how many ever beats you want. So if you wanted a 4-beat loop, you would look up to the program, set it at 4 beats, or you can actually set it by moving these up or down also. And right now it's at what? I think it's at 4. Yeah, it's at 4. So if I wanted 8, I would go there. So now it would set an auto loop of 8, an auto loop of 16, auto loop of 32, and so on. 4, 2, 1. Okay. But if I hit this, it's going to put it in an automatic 8-loop mode. Okay. But if I want to set it specifically for some reason odd, I would hit the shift button, set my in loop, set my out loop wherever I wanted it to be, and then that would be manually entered in. So wherever I wanted it to be. And so that you know that what I'm doing here with the buttons, I'm now going to go up to the software, and let's see the software. And so you can see what it's doing on the program while I'm hitting these. Again, I know this is really simple. We're going to get crazy complicated later. Trust me, you're going to be looking at this going, what is he doing? So I need to go here and share here. Let me know when you see it.
There we are.
Okay, so we have this song right here that's going to be playing. This is one of my songs off of, I think, my first album. And if we just let it play, it's going to play nonstop. Okay. Yep. But if I hit the auto loop mode, right now it's going to do an 8-beat loop automatic. It's going to set it from right there. So I hit the auto loop, and you can see it puts it in there. So when it gets to the end, it's going to jump all the way back to the beginning, even if I spin it with my finger or play it. But if I wanted to change that, I'm going to turn the auto loop off. Now I'm going to set, for some reason, let's say I wanted to set that loop to start at the 2nd beat. I can set it there. Now
there we go.
Set the out on there, and right there's my odd little loop. So I manually set it, and then hit the auto loop thing, and it releases it. So that's the simplest part of setting a loop. You know, I use auto loop a lot, and then change the length. I'm going to move. Remember, I told you we could change it different lengths.
Yep.
All I have to do is do this, forward, backwards.
Our video
And that quick, it does it automatically. I forgot the part. I kind of skipped a part here that I wanted to show you guys.
It's okay. I'm working trying to get our get it so we have both the screen because now I have. So just keep going. Where?
Okay.
I'm
like, oops. How do I get you back over here? There we go. Sorry, I lost it.
Yeah.
But what I kind of wanted to talk about before the loops is what was done originally before loops. So before there were loops, guys would create their own loops, and back in the days it was called breaks because they would take the break part of the song or the bridge of the song and loop it from one deck to the other deck. So I'm going to switch off, go back to the other camera. How do I stop sharing now? Because I can't see anything over here, John.
How can you?
I don't know what you did here. I literally can't. I can't unshare. I can't anything. Took all my controls away, John.
How could
John has taken my controls away.
How could I take? You had everything.
No, I know what it is. I'm an idiot.
I was going to say.
Now I'm not an idiot anymore. That was all me, John.
Okay,
Sorry.
I was going to say, I don't think I
All right,
did
so we're going to pick
anything.
an old song here. Apache. Those of you who remember the song Apache. Okay, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to play too much because we're gonna get in trouble. So what they would do is they would take the break, which here's the break, and they would play it, and then they would put the same song on the other side. 2 records back then, so it'd be 2 records. So I have it here, and I have it here, and you would start out by playing it here, and then play this one, and on one of the downbeats, on the one, you're going to release it, and then move the fader over. So it's going to be here. You're going to hear this one, then you're going to hear this one, then you're going to hear this one, then you're going to hear this one. And that's how loops were originally created. So it would be like. I missed that one. And we'll show it up on the screen so you can see what it looks like in the software. But that was the original loops back in the day, before we had the machines to do it. So looping has been around a long, long time.
Sure.
So as you see here, there's my 2 cue points I did. So missed that one. But you get the point there.
Yeah.
That was how looping originally started. Okay. So we go from that fast forward to a lot of the machines in that we're using now. I got to roll on my sleeve because that's why I was having trouble with that. I was catching my sleeves on the thing because they're really long. So you can use those loops were used back in the days as part of a thing. So if the guy was DJing back in the day and the crowd was going and he kind of wanted to get it going, and maybe somebody was doing a dance routine of some sort and he needed to lengthen it somehow, he would start doing that. He would have 2 records and he would start going back and forth through that the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we now have it in this form where you saw it in the little loop modes, the create. So you know where it came from.
Yep.
You know how to make them. And there are different things that you can do besides the auto loop. You can change the length, which we showed you, and we can jump. So I'm going to go back up to put my other song back on that I had on there. Drop that in there, clear that out. Whoops, clear. And back to the sharing. All right, so we have this point right here, and we have the loop. Okay, so playing the loop, lengthen it, shorten it, and you would say, what else could you do with the shortening thing? You can turn it into an effect, which actually is an effect in there called a roll. So we're going to create a manual roll, which is shortening that loop and shortening that loop and shortening that loop, shortening that loop, and then releasing it. So it's going to go, and then you release it. So it's kind of an effect. So we're going to go from 8 right there, and we're going to shorten it, shorten it, shorten it. You created a little bit of an effect there.
So now, what did you push or to activate that?
Okay, I'll take you back to there.
Okay.
So what you saw is shortening and lengthening, and we go back to this one. Okay, so playing, put it in loop, and there is 8. Okay, so I shorten and lengthen with these 2 buttons right here. Okay, so I shorten it. There's the 8. There's 4, 2, 1, half, quarter, 1/8, 16th, and release. So you could actually even do something like put a little twist effect in there. Drop it back out with a little. So it can be used, a loop can be used for an effects.
Sure.
And you can do lots of things with them. And you might ask, why would you shorten a loop? Because most people think on the 8 count, right?
Mm-hmm.
So thinking, so what I like to show is that you might need to shorten it depending on the song you have. So I have Single Ladies, and the version I have starts like this. It goes, okay, what if I want to loop that? And I don't really have anything to do that. So I'm going to grab another 97 BPM song so that we can show. We'll do the Sweet Home Country Grammar. If this one loads. Yeah, it loads. So if I get to the end of that song, and let's say I want to come in with the other one. So we're going to throw, oops, I don't want that. I want. Right there. So we're going to make that the jump out point. So having them synced. So now they're both at 97 BPM. Mm-hmm. So if I were to play that along with that, it kind of comes in quick. So if I do a loop on Single Ladies and shorten it down to there, okay,
mm-hmm.
then I can have this playing. And jump out of the loop on a short loop. And I've created an intro there with doing the little short. Then release it and jump back out again. Mm-hmm. Did that make sense? So I need to explain that again.
How did you do the backspin? How did you incorporate that into that when you?
Well, what it was I did the backspin because we're looping right here.
Yep.
And when it came back to the again, so when it comes right to there, that's when I released the loop and hit the backspin on the other one. So you have all of this length here for it to backspin and then jumps in. So that kind of gives you that cross effect. So you still had the, all right, that's going on there. We're going to go back. So all it is I'm going to release it once and then backspin at the same time.
Gotcha.
And there's your cross effect. I know some of that. That's why I said that some of this might get. Trust me, it's going to get a lot more complicated than this. That is an easy one right there. But just showing how that short loops, long loops, you might not just use a loop. You might use a short loop and a long loop. You might do different things. This is one of the tricks that I like to do, and I do this a lot actually. A lot of guys don't do it, and that's fine. You can do however you want. They might scratch in that song. At a point. Let me grab 2 other ones here. I want to go to we'll stay with this. We'll stay with this since we're working with this. I preset the loops a lot of times. So if I go in there, I'm going to go back to the program again. Okay, so I have this loop set here. Okay, so you can see it set.
Yep.
So what I'll do is, let's say this song's playing. All right, so this is playing. Now I want to mix it somewhere. I'll get this way ahead. Like I'm telling you at the beginning of the song, I'll set this up and just let it ride. So if this is playing, so it's underneath. I don't have it turned up at all.
Sure.
So, whoops. I'm doing that wrong. There we go. So it just sets there the whole time. And whenever I want to bring it in, I just turn up the volume. And it's already on beat. That's one of the tricks I do. Just leave it there, volume down, bring up the volume. I'll show the other mixer. Let me show the other mixer here. Yeah, so you can see the volume on this side. Let me get that matched up again. There we go. So whenever I want to, it's there. And I leave that the whole song. So let's say that whole song was going for the whole time. You know, I just want to bring it in whenever I want to bring it in. All right, Here it is. And just drop it in. So that is one of my tricks, is leaving loops on for a long time. And I'm going to show you another one that we can do where I'm taking, did I bring that one over? Did I bring that one over? I did not. So we're gonna bring them up. It is Party in the USA, and you have seen me do this one. Mm-hmm. And the other one was Ed Sheeran's "Shape of You," which I'm going to use the official video mix. And as we know, it doesn't have much of an anything at the beginning. Doesn't have much there. So we can do there, or we can loop from here. Whoops, from there. Okay, so I'm going to do the loop from there. We're syncing them, they're matched up. We put the loop in there, and I'll set it there. So it's going to run underneath the whole time at the same beat. So let's say this song's playing. We're going to go way to the end, and we're going to use the outro of this. So that whole time while that's playing, I'm going to have that synced. Let me jump in here a little bit. So I'm pretend I'm hearing it in my headphones. Yeah. So that's set there now. So this is what everybody else will be hearing. They would hear it this, and then I'm going to get to this cue point, and I'm going to use the out of this one here and just bring it up real quick. Release the loop. So now I have this over here as a backbeat. I'll show that again. Whoops.
Too far.
Okay, there we go. Getting near the end. Started on beat. So it would be like this. Nobody would hear it. Mm-hmm. But it would be running. So I'm set from the beginning of the song. Okay, now it's time to mix. And just that's it. Release the loop, turn up the volume, turn up the volume, then release the loop. And that's how I use loops a lot on intros and outros, coming in and out and in and out and in and out. When we did a couple weeks ago talking about the promo-only quick mixes, mm-hmm. Those were perfect examples that we take that has the, let me find another one. It's around 97 there. There's a 99. I think that one. So you see how I have the different loop marks in there. And that's part of the thing to where once I would get to like set them up in the sync, we're going to mix at that point. So I would have my right there. So I would do that loop from right there. But I would do it on beat with this whenever I'm ready. Back here, give me a little bit of room. Leave that right there. Let it just ride. And when I'm ready, and that quick, you throw it up, you jump in, break it out. 5, 6, 7, 8. That quick. And that's the purpose of doing the pre and post loops. That yes, you can scratch them in and drop them on the one if you want. That's fine. I'm not saying there's a way to do it, but I'm just saying tonight we're talking about loops. So that's one of the things we're showing how to use a loop. And like I said, I do that a lot to where when I'm mixing, I'll get that spot where I want that to be and have that set, and it'll be set and they're just looping the whole song. And then when it's time, I can bring it in. Or if I'm halfway through and I go, I want out of this, and I could just take that, if that
and go.
If that was right there, I could, because you can jump loops too. So I'm going to show the screen again and show that while it's in loop mode, you can still jump. Okay, so it's looped right there, and all I'm going to do is hit a different cue point. It's going to still be, as long as I hit the cue point on beat, it's still going to be looping to that same length. Here we go. So you can jump in and out as long as you're on beat. Create a little effect. Release it and go. So those are my intros and outros loops. Okay. So are we good here? Because it's going to get really crazy from here on out.
I think
you got any
so.
questions from the chat room?
No, they're just kind of watching.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. So John and I talk a lot about with virtual, it allows you to run the little
sampler. That's all I use.
Sampler. Thank you.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of what it was called underneath.
And if you do a hard kick drum under the national anthem, it is awesome. Just saying.
Which we could do that if we need to. So we have the kick drum right here, and it's going to go on beat. So if I have the
oh, say can yeah, it was.
Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to throw on. I know I have it here because I brought these up to show other things you can do with this. So I have. Where's it at? I like the song. It was a house song years ago called "Dancing." But the acapella. So if we want to hit that kick drum, which is a loop, it will automatically adjust to her singing if my downbeats are right. So now you got a kick behind there. Turn it on off. All right, so again, that's a loop, but I'm going to take that a little bit further, and I want to have loops ready all the time for mixing, okay? So I'm going to throw in, let me grab something in the 125 range. Yeah, this was the one. Okay, so we have this song. Everybody knows this one? All right. So let's say I don't have a beat. Let's say the song I'm mixing out of is something different. What could I do, John, if I don't have that button that we have?
Cry?
No, what you do is go from 2-deck mode, which we can do with our things, to 4-deck mode.
Oh, yeah.
Boop. Okay. So now I have house loops that I keep running underneath of here all the time. So at all times on decks 3 and 4, when I'm doing this type of mixing, oops, pressed the wrong one there. So I have to switch decks on mine because you can see right here, you're going to see the blue light up, and then that one's going to light up now. See, I'm switching decks. So now I'm in control of this deck. I'm going to put it in a loop mode, and I'm going to change this so you can see this a little bit better. Nope, I don't want that one. I want the 4 decks. Yeah, okay, so now you can see it by itself looping, okay? So you can leave that down all the time. So if I bring that other song in, now that loop is on sync with that on the 4th deck, but I can still mix on my 2 deck. But if I bring that up, bring up deck 4 while that's looping, it's always there.
So now, if deck 1 is your main play deck, and you're wanting to sync to that, will hit, like in this case, when you have deck 4, then it's looping, and you hit sync, will it sync back to deck 1? And what happens? It will
sync to, actually, the way I would do that would be to sync the song as opposed to that loop unless it's close, but you can do either. So if this was playing, all right, I'm intentionally going to throw this off, okay? Deck 4, I'm intentionally going to throw that BPM off, okay? So you see it now, it's lower. It's way off. So if I were to hit that right now, it's in loop mode. That quick it jumped back in. So I'm going to throw it off again. Hit sync. That quick it jumps back in. So that gives you those loops underneath that you can play with and just keep them there. And you could, let's say you wanted to do something kind of crazy to where I wanted to leave a song. Let's say I was doing Skilo, which isn't even near where I want to be. And I want to do the other song. So I could then trigger this underneath and then trigger the one above it. Sync them. Keep them synced. So then I would backspin out of that. See, they're down now. Okay, so I'm here. Whenever I want that, I'm going to bring 4 back up. So I'm going to bring that back up. Okay, so that's in, and then just start my other deck whenever I want to start it. Then I get the other 2 decks to do whatever I want to with. I go back over there and play with them. So this comes back in a minute, and I can just drop it out and drop and go about mixing. Go back to my decks. Now, that's where I said it was going to get kind of crazy and confusing. So please feel free, John, to help me make sense of that to people if they're not getting that, because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is, but I think if a person, as Keith made reference to, when he gets his controller in front of him and to be able to sit down and kind of watch and practice.
It's like I said, because of that, doing the auto sync, you can create a lot of stuff like that. But running 4 decks, you can run stuff. And like I said, if I'm doing a night of house music where I'm staying virtually in the same BPM the whole night, I'll throw those on there, and both of them will be deck 3 and deck 4, and they will run by themselves the whole night. They'll just be there doing their own thing. I'll never do anything with them. I'll leave them there and just let them loop the whole night long. And whenever I need it, I just bring it in and press the sync button, and that's it. I can manually drop it in if I want. And, if I wanted to, that's there too. But those are the loops. And then the final thing, it's kind of weird in its own way. I'm going to shut these off and go back to these 2. So we have that beat there, which I'm going to erase so we have, all right. I'm going to put that here. Do I want to do it? I want to do it here. Okay. And then we have that other kick. That right there. So we have this kick and a snare. And you can then cue point that. So now I have 2 cue points with that. Okay. And let's say the song is playing. And I have this over here. And for those of you who want to see what that's done on the deck, which was I showing the screen? I wasn't showing anything there, was I?
All right, we were seeing you.
That's so terrible. Sorry, guys. So I have my cue point. Okay, so all I'm doing is this again. You're creating a manual loop. Stuff like that. You can get really crazy and goofy drumming your loops, setting them, throwing them underneath, however you want. That's loops, John. That's loop. So, like I said, it was somewhat confusing because it's not something that people do a lot, and especially the multi-deck thing.
Sure.
But it's, like I said, if you're just using 2, I use them a lot to come in and out. It's quick to bring stuff in and out, and that way you can actually set that loop, get that thing ready. And again, back to the thing we taught a couple weeks ago, if we have the cue points and I have that cue point set, all I have to do is put that in that way, and then as soon as that song begins, so let's say I'll do it at full speed here. We're going to do quick edits, and we're going to do 120 to 125. Okay, so I'm going to do...
I'm seeing you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'm coming there in a minute.
Just wanted to make sure.
Because I want to get rid of some decks here so that you're able to see what's going on
that
here.
If you're going to do something really, really cool and I'm looking at you, not that, we don't think you're...
It's not cool at all.
A nice enough, but you probably wanted us to see the cool.
All right, so I'm going to show it to you on the screen because that's what I want you to see over here, the horizontal. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. Now we're going to share this. And so let's say I'm mixing this song here. Call Me Maybe. Okay, so right there's the mix point. Okay, their first word.
Yep.
So I'm going to press that, and the amount of time I'm getting these, I'm only turning the other 2 up to get them out of the way because you can't see deck 3 and 4. So I'm moving the volumes to get them out of the way for me to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go from the point where here, and you're going to see me set the loop and sync it in the other song to get it ready to mix. And this is all, so if this is how much time, if you have your cue point set, all the longer it takes. So right here we go, and I go here and sync in. Okay, so for the rest of the song now, that's all the further we're into that song. That's going to be right there where I want it to be. and I never have to touch it again the rest of the song.
Sure.
So the whole song can just go on and do its own thing, and I'm done. You can go talk to somebody if you want. You can drink if you want. And then by the time that gets all the way to the end, we're going to jump all the way to the end. Okay, you see where the 2 lines are coming up right there?
Yep.
I'm going to bring it up. Oops, I did that wrong.
You unlooped it.
We'll go back again. I did that in the wrong spot. So that's my fault. That's where I would have brought that up. I did that wrong again. I'm not paying attention here. All right, wait till it gets it. Throw it up, ready to loop. So I let that loop the whole song until we get to the point, throw the volume up, release the loop, stop the other song. That's how quick and what the purpose of that loop is. So we have questions. Anybody, anything. I know loops are simple. A lot of you use them, a lot of you don't. You can feel free to ask me any question about loops you want. You can even ask me if I'm loopy, because sometimes I feel like a Fruit Loop stuck in a box of Cheerios. I really do.
Just
That was funny. So I hope somebody's laughing.
don't sneeze on your screen. Yeah, they're just kind of following along and watching, taking notes. So as you were doing the looping and things, one thing that Michael was having frustration with is that when Virtual popped up the thing when you hit the auto loop the first time, it says, oh, your loop is going to the left instead of to the right. You know, it's going to go backwards instead of forwards, or forwards instead of backwards, kind of a thing. Are you following?
I have never heard of that before.
Yeah, so basically, when a person would hit the song is playing, and I want to loop, you would have to go to the end of the 8-beat count, and then you hit the auto loop.
That's got to be a setting in there. I've never heard of that. Let me do a quick search of the settings.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, because whenever I put a different, I'm on a different controller.
All right, so it's not that. It's going to be this. So this is the setting screen, and you're going to have loop back mode, which I'm guessing that's what loop back mode is.
Okay.
You have to set that to no. Q loop auto sync, you can do yes or no on that. I kind of leave it there sometimes so that it can be in loop. That's so it's in loop mode. That's so that if I press the loop mode, it's going to intelligently set the loop on the downbeat instead of in the middle. So if I'm playing that and I just pop it, by having that there, it will get it in there automatically. We'll move it automatically. That's what the move thing is. The back loop wizard, I don't even know what the back loop wizard is. Displays information message about back loop versus forward. There you go.
That must be it.
So there's the back loop, forward loop, and they're all saying that's the thing. Like I said, with Virtual, for those of you who maybe don't use Virtual, there's a setting here, options, and you can just simply search at the top for the stuff. But if there's nothing there, you literally have all these zillions of settings you can do. Plus, you can, if you want to get like me, you can actually go into the config files and change stuff in the computer too. But they give you everything you need here. Your fader curve stuff, your hamster, all these things can be set internally, everything. But that was the loop stuff that you're talking about there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so the sampler loop, locked, you can do different things on that. And I'm not even sure what all those do because I don't use them aside from that one button that brings that up. But does that kind of help you out there?
Yeah, because he was struggling with that because I have it set one way for my computer, my board, and then he was practicing in the house with one of the smaller Newmark boards. And he was like, no,
there you go.
It's like,
I didn't even know that was there because I've always my loops are always forward.
Yeah. Well, that's what he wanted.
My head's backwards, but my loops are forward.
Yeah. That was the thing is he was.
Yeah, that's interesting that it didn't do that as a default. So that's like I said, you can get in there and play with that and make it do anything you want. You can, you know how the waveforms go this way on a thing? Mm-hmm. You can actually reverse them if you don't like them and make them go, instead of going right to left, they can go left to right. So if you choose to have it that way.
Let's see, we got a couple of questions now popping up here.
Can you do some of that with the DJ to go? Absolutely. Because you have the in loop, out loop, and auto loop on that. So all the loop stuff that I did here, you have the in loop, the out loop, and the auto loop on that. Which like I said, I just use the auto loop. I set it. The fastest way to do that is, let's say I'm preparing the song on the right. So there's the cue point right here. All right, so that's where I want it. So with Virtual, when I press play, and then hit Q, it takes it back to the way I have it set up. Again, you can set it up however you want to. It takes it back to that Q point automatically. So, or you can manually move it there, but I like to do it so that it's there. And then I just hit the auto loop button and set the thing however I want that to be, and it's there. So that's how I set it to where you put it where it is, and that auto loop automatically puts it where it's supposed to be. See, I can offset it, and that's an atypical loop. So if you were doing that in there, you might have to kind of play with it.
Yeah, that
just to be silly.
Yeah, that wouldn't get annoying at all.
Yeah, but you can do stuff with that. I mean, but I'm saying that's an atypical loop to where you can set it off center to where that's on, or you can move it and set it off, and you would just release it the same way. But there are different effects that you could do. So if I had that in that atypical position, and I'm twisting you can see at the bottom there, that's the high-low filter.
Mm-hmm.
It can be effects or something if you're mixing, and that's part of the thing that you can do with that is kind of twist that around a little bit. So did that answer the question? I think
so. Up a little higher, Willie Dynamite had a question about do you loop based off keys and BPM, or do you word play between songs?
Okay, he's talking about a couple different things there. What I showed tonight was what a lot of people, which I for years ago, I've heard everyone talk about phrase mixing, and it was like, what is this phrase mixing? Is this something new? And all it is to me was it's normal mixing. So if we take these two songs here, we have the out and the in. So that's going to come in there. Let me show the screen. I keep forgetting I'm not sharing. Yep. All right, so we have the 2 points here. That's my count in. And then, so when you're doing phrasing, meaning that as soon as the last word ends over on this deck, so right there, the first word of the next song should start.
Sure.
Okay, so that should be right there. So doing the loops, the way he's asking is that I would put that in loop right there while this is playing. And then as you see, I have that mark right there. So this is, again, how I'm marking it. So I'm just going to use the intro for that, and they're the same length. So when we get to this point, we showed this in the mixing thing the other night, I release it. So it isn't choosing them necessarily by, you choose the songs by key if you want, you choose the BPM for mixing if you want, but the loops are just anything and everywhere. That's why I showed the Single Lady song to where it's an effect loop because it's so short. You're not actually doing anything with it. So if this one was running, and I'm going to turn it up when it gets to that cue point, so it's underneath the whole time, and it's looping just because of the length and nothing else. So I'm getting ready to drop it in here, release the loop, and stop it when it gets to the other one. And that is a phrasing, which when people call it phrasing, I'm like, no, that's called how you're supposed to do it. That isn't some trick. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done. Because if you didn't do it like that, let me kick back here again. I'm sorry, I'm changing screens. I hope I'm not making anybody dizzy by changing screens. So let's say I did coming out of hers. And I'm just going to pick a beat in here. There we go. So we got this whole section here where there's nothing going on because I didn't set it up to do that whole special. So I had to make them wait all that time for that. Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, the phrase mixing is done that way. So every song is hit. It's hit. You don't give them time to breathe. But choosing the loop, I choose it to per song. Again, that one because it had in, because we have that verse. But if we go before that, we have. Okay, but the other thing that you can do is where I showed you about jumping loops. Why, again, having the cue points is important. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of this song, and all we have is a kick here. Set that. So I can have that as part of this outro if I wanted for her. And twist that out. And I still have the kick. And then I just jump in whenever I want to. 5, 6, 7, 8. Jump to the next cue point. Did that answer the question? I know that's all over the place.
Demonstrate that again, what you just did.
Do the jumping? Okay.
Yeah, you did a jump there. Show me that one more time again.
I do the jumps all the time because let's say the song, because if I were to start the loop here, depending on what song it is, he's talking there. Yeah. Okay. And I don't want necessarily him talking over her singing. So instead of doing that from there, I might set the loop at the beginning where I'm still giving it the effect as it's coming in. So you can tell, oh, he's going to do a mix. And then at the last second, instead of just letting it run, because you can see how far that has to run before it gets to that other cue points, this section right here, okay? All I do is just jump to that cue point right there.
Okay, show us.
So that's put it all together now. On beat. So if I'm back here at the beginning and just run underneath, jump. Or drop it in. You could actually do that. Where's that at? Oops, that wasn't even playing. So there's little ways to bring it in, but the loops are there to kind of give you ahead of time, to give you a little bit of breathing room. I like to mix fast like that, to where I'm bringing stuff in manually because I like to mix, so it's fun for me. But if you're doing a wedding or a party where you need to talk to people, that loop could have your mix ready and you could talk to them and engage with people on a microphone and stuff. And then when it comes time, just bring it out of the loop, release the loop, stop the other song, set the next one up, because you saw how quick it was to set it up, go back to talking to the crowd. But yet you're mixing and it's not interfering with other stuff you're doing if you need to do that. I do that because I'll set the next song. Okay, so I'll set the song and then put the loop on the next song. Then I'll go search for the next song I'm going to go after that, and then the song after that. So I'm, in my mind, 4 songs at a time setting my mixes up. So one is playing, one I'm about to go into, the one I'm going to follow it up with, and then am I going to change it? What am I going to catch them with on that 4th song? What am I going to do? And that's kind of like the purpose of that across the journey, as we say, like to take them on a journey.
A musical trip down memory lane?
Yeah. Yeah.
David had a question. How many times could you loop in a song, or loop a song into a regular set before it becomes overlooped or overdone?
Does he mean...
I'm wondering if a person would, and I've heard situations where you've had kind of a fallback song, like they talk in comedy, there's a fallback. So you'd be playing, you'd start a song and then you'd go to a different song and you'd come back to a loop from the, maybe the refrain from the first song, you're going back to that, then you go to another song and you come back off and on.
Oh, never go back to it. Find another song. Always go to something else, because that's why, like I said, if you want to jump in and out, we'll go back to the quick mixes again. And we'll do the one.
But with that being said, you will use, say that when you went to four players, those loops on the bottom, you could use those multiple times, but that's just a kick.
But I wouldn't run the kick. That's the thing, that I wouldn't run a kick through the whole song. It's there as a transition. Or like I said, that if you brought that in on the house loop, let me go back to 4 decks, sharing, and then go back to 4 decks. All right, so we're on the 4 decks. Now I'm going to share. All right, so if I drop, what was that? I need something in the 124. We'll do that. 120, 25. Fireball has an intro that you can do that with, because at least my version does, because you have that. So I might use that loop underneath, sync it. So now I've got a kick underneath. And I would only use that till I got to, as you see over here, that cue point right there. As you can see the volume right here, the yellow one. I'm just going to drop it when it gets to the 1 point. then I would grab another song while that's playing. Let's say that's playing, and I would find something else that go back to my other deck there. I would throw this on there that has a different intro. Let me change so you can see that better. Okay, so you see the yellow one's still looping underneath the whole time.
Yep.
So I've now got a new song loaded on deck 2, and I would put it on beat with this one. So now it's setting there by itself. So let's say we get all the way to the end of the song, and we're going to go all the way back. Oh, there's a breakdown. Here's a perfect place to use it in a breakdown. And you see it's going to... And you could do stuff with that where you can even play with it. Like, I'm taking the fader on and off.
Sure.
You're just playing it and mixing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would be ready. So when we get to the end of there, all the way to the end, it's already looping where it should be. Then jump to the cue point, and I'm at where I need to be on that. Kind of this is why I said that I was afraid of. It got crazy, didn't it? There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on, but it's because Michael and I spend some time playing and doing some of this, but much more basic, but having a little bit of a working knowledge because he wanted to see all 4 decks being used with the 8,000. It's like, well, yes, we can do this, and here's how
you can do 6 too.
Yeah,
actually, the virtual 8 will do 99 decks if you want, but it would look like this. So I have them here, and then you can actually trigger them below. So this is here, this is there. So if I wanted to highlight deck 4 or deck 8, and then I would just trigger them. And that's all you'd be doing, but you could have as many decks as you want running. As I click on them, then it brings it up to what you're controlling.
So then the controller, if there were 6, would the 1, 3, 2, 4 buttons be used, or would it always be 1 and 3?
Depending on what do you mean?
Because if
the volumes, you mean?
I want to go to 5 and 6. Where would 5 be? Deck 5, where would it play through?
Wherever you set it up. You can set it up to be wherever you want it to be. That was one of the things you have to kind of set ahead of time. But my clicking on it, it kicks 5 to the left deck and 6 to the right deck automatically. So right now, if I put a song over here on this one, it's going to be on 6. So I'm controlling 6. I'm controlling 6. I'm controlling 4. And I'm controlling 2 from that deck. From the right side, and then the other 3 from the other side. Virtual automatically splits it, but you can also set that up to do whatever you want it to do. That's a personal choice. But I recommend just stay with 2,
until you
but use the loops to jump in and out of stuff. Yeah. Like I said, I don't hardly use, unless I'm doing a night where I'm doing house music or something where the BPM is pretty much the same the whole night. Then I'll drop the other 2 loops in there and let them ride and use them whenever I need to. Like I said, so if I have a song. Where's my loop? I lost my loop at. I lost my loop.
Oh no!
I lost my loop, Sean. I'm loopless. All right, so if I had that over here, and looping.
So where is over here?
And I had another song, right deck. Thank you, John. Again, I'm presuming you can see what I can see from my eyes, can't you?
Hey, there's over here.
And I would pick another song. Here's one for you that you would not believe it or not. AC/DC is actually in the same BPM as some dance songs.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go, I need to jump and change this. 1 second here. All right, so you see it looping there.
Yep.
And if I take oops, I got to load that. There we go. Let's load it for crying out loud. All right, so I can have that loop going. Why is that not showing that over there? Hold on. Is that showing it there?
It's not
showing that, is it? It's not moving.
But we can hear it.
I broke something, John, when I was switching all these. It was in 2-deck mode. There it goes. Yeah. All right, so. And you could do stuff where you turn it on and off. You could be doing stuff like that with your loop and only use it for this part. And when it comes in, go to the next song. But have that loop there if I'm in that beat. So you have dropouts that are like acapellas. You can have a beat kicking over to keep the energy. Like I said, we do with that little thing that Virtual has, the sampler. Mm-hmm. But it's manual. That's what we did before that. You had to create all this stuff manual. That's why I show so much of it, because this is, nowadays you hit a button. Back then we had to do that. So It kind of gets you in the mindset to know what you want and let you create. So you're not stuck with just whatever that button does. You can go, well, if I want that, that's why I said the one that was Single Ladies, because it starts with that. By knowing that that's the way that song goes, I'm going to shorten that. Now I have a usable loop. Mm-hmm. It's almost a sound effect, and then just release it.
And you're right there. But it's usable, because if you didn't, how would you bring that song in with any kind of longevity whatsoever? Yeah, you can't.
Exactly.
I never thought about just doing a two beat loop or a one beat loop if you needed.
Yeah, a 1 beat loop would be short. That would be like you could do a house thing with that, maybe. Dun, 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 dun.
Or something like that.
So there we are. There's our loop thing. I know there's a lot here. I throw a lot at you each time I do this show. John and I have been talking about how we want to go with this show. And what I'm thinking is that one Wednesday a month, we're going to do software tips, where it's Virtual week. The next week, I'll do something here on the decks that show you, like tonight, looping or whatever. Another one after that will be stuff to do with songs, like I could show something in on the song night of why I use that, a Single Ladies loop. Things like that, songs, picking out songs and versions and showing you what I use, answering questions. And then the final one I wanted to do is an open question night, to where we come in and literally you can ask anything, software, hardware, song, whatever. You can ask anything that night. So I thought that way we could keep the show fresh, and it kind of gets everybody involved, because we all have different mixing styles and different types of shows and venues that we do. And it's not everything's going to be for everybody. So I thought that way we can kind of mix it up, to do that. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea, or you would rather see certain things. I know I had somebody that contacted me recently and asked for more of the techniques, like how to do technical things like that. So,
sure. Yeah.
Like tonight's looping thing. So we're going to try to give it a little bit of everything. There's stuff I found this week when I'm playing around with Virtual that I didn't even know was in there. Stuff about cue points and labeling and coloring cue points. Didn't know that you could do all this. So we're going to do maybe a show about cue points, how to use them, where to put them in, change them, be creative with them, all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's what I think we're going to do with the show. John?
Sounds good.
Where are we at?
About time to wrap up here, yeah. I think we're good with the chat and such, and it's time to wrap this up. And then
there's a lot to take in, but it's all good. That's the perfect explanation of what I was hoping to get out tonight.
Oh.
Again, feel free to drop me if you have a question about something, or go back and watch the video. It's better to send me a message like through Facebook message or something, because I'll get that a lot faster. I might check the video once a week or something.
Yeah.
If I even do that. But cool.
Wonderful.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks for your time and such there, MJ, and thank you guys for being with us. We'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes with Jeremy and Dave with their Valentine's Day show. We'll be right back.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.